I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV episode number 184, really, this time. I was ahead of myself last week, but this is really number 184. When you've done that many episodes, we've now run longer than most comic book series, so it's hard to remember these things. We need notes and like a whole team and someone with one of those chopping boards and cue cards and all kinds of stuff to help us along here. All right, so another great week for comics, but to save a little bit on time, because we're doing this a little later than we normally do, we want to follow up on something that we talked about last week, and that is the previews catalog. And we got comments from several people saying that they were planning on picking it up, but next time they go to their local shop, that they weren't familiar with it. So this is it. We'll put a picture up here, or we'll hold
you need to see. This is massive.
Yeah, this is just the non-Marvel stuff, and then Marvel has their own 100-page... No, not 100. This is...
the big one is 540 pages.
And this is over 100 pages of Marvel stuff. So we've got, 600, close to 650 pages of content to go through every month for consumers to figure out what they want. But this is the same book that we order out of as retailers, which makes no sense whatsoever. So we have the same access to information that you do, but we need to decide who gets what, who gets space on the shelf. And with so many great new things coming out every month and every week within that month, it's very difficult. Not every store. We have a decent sized store. There are several stores that are under 1,000 square feet. How do you stock everything that people want? And that's why letting your local retailer know what you want out of the previews catalog is so important. Even for stores like us, especially for stores like us. So that was kind of a long-winded rehash of where we were last week, that the previews catalog comes out once a month, usually the last week of each month, and contains information about items that will be shipping 2 months later. When you're talking about comics, if you're talking about statues and figures and non-comic related items, it could be 6 to 9 months or longer before those items are released. So right now, the previews catalog is $4.50. Come January, it will be $3.99, so the same price as a standard comic. And I'm telling you, it is just as much fun to go through the previews catalog as it is to read a comic. So,
and if you buy the regular previews catalog, you get the Marvel previews free.
Right. If you just buy the Marvel previews, it's $1.25. That was kind of confusing, but Marvel has to have their stuff, not touching anyone else's stuff, much like a 5-year-old child that doesn't want their food to touch each other on their dinner plate.
Dan Didio has his arm on my side.
Marvel doesn't want their content in the same catalog as everybody else. Insert your own jokes and angry rants there. But we'll start with Marvel. Are we going to start with Marvel?
That's fine.
Let's start with Marvel. And we're just going to touch on some things that jumped out at us, some things that we want to bring to your attention as viewers, and if you're local, as customers at Alter Ego, that you may want to add to your pull list. And if you don't have a pull list, talk to your local shop about setting one up. It's usually free, and it's a great way to make sure that you don't miss the stuff that you want. And it's a great way to make sure that someone else doesn't go home with your copy of fill in the blank.
Now, it's important to note that because these books are coming out 2 months from now, you're 3, 4, 5 issues ahead in some cases, so there are a certain degree of spoilers. Some plots that are still going on, for example, Axis is a, weekly or bi-weekly series?
It's 3 issues a month for 9 issues.
Right, so by the time this comes out, 4 more issues of Axis will be out before the books that are in here. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about structurally.
All right, so I will go first, and we'll just bounce back and forth.
We're just going to go chronologically? Or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm going to skip the first part because I really don't care, but Star Wars is the 800-pound gorilla of the Marvel catalog this month. This is Star Wars returning home to Marvel Comics, where Star Wars began, actually, 2 months? What are they saying here? I think it came out 2 months before, the adaptation came out 2 months before the movie hit theaters. From Marvel, and it ran for 9 years. So Marvel did Star Wars comics for 9 years. A lot of us that are in that 35 to 50 range remember reading Star Wars Marvel comics. So this is a homecoming of sorts, and Marvel has brought their A game with this by having Jason Aaron write this. This is a book that's just called Star Wars, and there will be future books, obviously, down the road. But Jason Aaron's writing this one, artwork by John Cassaday, and this takes place, I don't know when. I think it's, fresh off their biggest victory. So it's the destruction of the Death Star. So it's post-Death Star. Much like Dark
After
Horses.
the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah, after Dark Horses post-Death Star book. With about a bajillion different covers, and some of them are amazingly awesome, like the Alex Ross tribute to the original Star Wars #1, which is a 1 in 50 variant, the Scotty Young interlocking variant, so there's going to be one for each new Star Wars series by Scotty Young, and a whole bunch of stuff. But there's some preview pages of the interior art, which actually look better than I thought they would. Cassaday is either on his game or off his game, and I think he's on his game and not on drugs this time when he's drawing the Star Wars characters. And just from the few pages they've shown us, I'm intrigued.
Yes, I believe he will last 6 issues before he leaves.
That's probably correct. So Star Wars is on my list.
Oh, without question. Star Wars is on everyone's list.
Yes. What do you got? You're next.
What have I got next? Next up, we've got the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #1. This is interesting for several reasons. First off, they're capitalizing on Squirrel Girl's little-known fame as someone who's defeated Doctor Doom and Thanos and Wolverine all in single combat. She also used to date Wolverine, which is a little weird given her relative age. But I'm kind of excited about this for several reasons, because Marvel's been really excelling at these sort of offbeat books lately, stuff like Superior Foes of Spider-Man and Hawkeye. And this one, obviously, is going to fall probably in that vein, I'm hoping. Cool part is we've got Ryan North writing, who's best known for being the creator of Dinosaur Comics, which is one of the biggest webcomics on the planet. And he also did some work over a little book called Adventure Time when it was winning all those Eisners a year or two ago. So, Squirrel Girl, Unbeatable, should be awesome. We got art by Erica Henderson, I believe, as well. Yes. Oh, and a cover by Arthur Adams. Look at this Arthur Adams cover. If you want to watch Arthur Adams draw Fing Fang Foom and Galactus on the same page, and squirrels, that's where it's at.
You had me at Art Adams cover. Operation Sin #1. This is a 5-issue miniseries about the birth of S.H.I.E.L.D. It takes place after Captain America, the first film, the first Avenger, that's what it was, and stars apparently Peggy Carter and Howard Stark in the early 1950s.
Looking a pretty good deal like they look in the movies.
Yes. This is written by Catherine Immonen and art by Rich Ellis. Is that Wonder Man? No. There's someone else on the cover here. But you know what? I'm curious. I'm always eager to see, I guess, how the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel Comic Universe kind of intertwine. And this will be a good opportunity for those of you that are big fans of the movies but are not necessarily reading Marvel Comics. This is a good entry point, probably, for you.
I think that's Woodrow McCord.
Who?
The guy from
Original
Sin.
It says Woodrow McCord.
Yeah, the original Sin guy who gave the job to Fury before he got killed.
Well, there we go.
Which it's neat. If you read the original Sin annual, it was all about him, and so it's cool that they're
and that's
they're
him in
tying them all
the
together.
variant cover. Kind of shows him.
Looks more like he looked in the original Sin than in that one.
Cool.
Let's see.
You're supposed to be looking ahead while I do this.
I was, but you didn't know who Woodrow McCord was.
Does anyone know who Woodrow McCord is?
Not really. What we're doing essentially is we're bypassing all the books. I mean, like...
Oh, there were some things that caught my eye.
Deathlock 4 is in here. Deathlock 1 came out this week and was cool. But we don't need to tell you about that because it's already in the stands. Check it out. The Spider-Verse stuff looks great.
It does, and I almost stopped with the Avengers stuff. New Avengers 29 and Avengers #40 both have... It's part of the Time Runs Out storyline, but the New Avengers cover shows the Beyonder toying with Yellow Jacket, apparently. No, that's
I actually
Iron
thought
Man.
that was... No, that's Yellow Jacket. Isn't it?
I think that might... I don't know
He's
who
got,
that is. It could be Nova. That's Yellow Jacket. He's got the big shoulder pads.
Yeah. I thought it was Maximus the Mad. But you're right, it is the Beyonder.
No, that's the Beyonder. And then, in his Jerry curl. And then the other one is Thanos fighting Falcon, Captain America, and apparently Sue Storm. So both of those. And it says Secret Wars. So this is the road to Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars storyline, which comes out next summer. But we didn't stop and talk about it because it's the middle of a new... And it's the middle of an existing book, but I was trying to give Josh more time to find something to talk about.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to talk about how She-Hulk #12 is in here, and that's the last issue of She-Hulk.
There you go.
And that makes me sad inside.
I need to cue the Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk music. Okay, well, I'm done with Marvel. Are you done with Marvel?
I am done with Marvel.
No, there's other cool stuff in here. I mean, we won't get into the trades and other things, but Marvel, again, they list their single comics, their collected editions, posters.
This All New Ultimates is worth it just for the cover. They've got a Miles Morales style Where's Waldo cover.
So anyway, So we're to you. To me.
To me, my board.
Yes. Okay, I'll go.
We're going for... Go.
Josh has problems. He would probably pick this, but I'll pick it anyway. Dark Horse Comics. And the previews catalog is organized by premier publishers first, alphabetically. So we go Dark Horse, DC, IDW, Image, and then some other folks. But Dark Horse is up first. And on the first page of the Dark Horse section is the long-rumored Conan Red Sonja #1. Originally supposed to be written by Gail Simone and Brian Wood, now written by Gail Simone and Jim Zub, and I'm completely fine with that. I think that Gail Simone is still involved, so you had me at Gail Simone, but throw in Jim Zub, whose work on Wayward is excellent. Wayward #3 is out this week, by the way, and would have made my list if I made a list. Conan Red Sonja. It's a 4-issue miniseries, intercompany crossover, Dynamite and Dark Horse. You haven't seen this much sword and sorcery badassery since Arnold Schwarzenegger and Brigitte Nielsen were on screen together in whatever that was, Red Sonja, the movie.
All right, I'm actually going to pimp Demo. This is from Dark Horse still. It is a trade collecting a series that was out 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 12 issues. Each one is kind of a self-contained story. And this is Brian Wood. This is and Becky Cloonan art, and it's both of them. Well, Wood was already fairly big when he did this, but this is early stuff. And this is the most. This is a terrible term to use. This is the most indie Brian Wood stuff to me. This is the stuff that feels like autobiographical comics and like it's in black and white and blankets kind of stuff. And it's just really, really good, really emotional stuff. And it's $25 for 464 pages.
Holy moly.
Dark Horse is beating the crap out of everybody else when it comes to awesome omnibuys.
All right, so we'll jump to the DC Comics section, and it's worth pointing out that DC Comics has been running themed variant covers for the last several months, and it looks like January continues that trend, celebrating 75 years of The Flash. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are Flash variant covers with many of the DC books by some of your favorite artists, and some of them are super cool.
Yes. Incredibly cool.
That's what caught my eye in the DC section. I will mention, I guess, Superman #38 is a new costume for Superman. It's still Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. It kicks off a new story arc. It concludes their first arc with twist after twist that will send Superman onto a new path and force Clark to make a shocking decision. New costume, new powers, new friends, and enemies. Superman 38, put it on your pull list.
No, and I think I'm going to backtrack a little from that to talk about Secret 6. Now, this is Secret 6 2. Secret 6 1 was in last month's catalog, which means it'll be out next month. But this is Gail Simone coming back to one of the books she was really well known for prior to the New 52 relaunch. And we've got Catman and the New 52, and that will be super awesome. I loved it. It's kind of a Suicide Squad-y feel. Bad guys working secret missions and stuff. And Gail Simone is always great with that. And we've got Ken Lashley doing art, actually.
It's worth noting that Robin is back in Batman and Robin #38 in the teaser that they give us.
Robin is back.
It's Damian.
Oh, no, it says... Spoiler alert.
What is the new dynamic for this crime-fighting duo now that Damian has superpowers of his own?
Yes, and that both of the Flash variants there are really cool.
They are. That's the selling point of DC Comics. DC Comics is only doing variants now.
Gotham by Midnight has not started yet.
No.
Let's say issue 3's in here. We've got art by Ben Templesmith, who you may remember from getting in a fight with J. Michael Straczynski over not being able to draw 10 grand a while back. And Templesmith is the kind of art you'd never see from Marvel or DC. It's very moody and impressionistic. And this is a book about Jim Corrigan running a special unit in Gotham of cops. Well, it's a unit. It's like 4 people.
That's a unit.
Investigating mysteries, investigating the mystical stuff. You know, when weird stuff happens in Gotham, which is pretty much all the time, they're the group that gets called in. Like the X-Files, but no one believes them. Wait, just like the X-Files. Led by Jim Corrigan, who's, of course, the Spectre. Written by Ray Fawkes, who has been on the Bat books.
Yes, he's part of the Batman Eternal crew. I'm all the way at the back of the DC section, which is their area for toys and statues. And I gotta give a shout-out to the Batman the Animated Series figures that are here. DC Collectibles is doing 6-inch figures of the Batman the Animated Series gang, and this is Series 3, but it's not being called Series 3. I guess they're focusing more on the individual characters than a series. So in this assortment, actually you can order these figures individually. We've got the Creeper, Robin, Tim Drake Robin, who's about 10 years old, and the Killer Croc that comes with a baby doll, and the ever-popular Harley Quinn. So these look super cool. The whole series looks cool. The first set is supposed to be out, I believe, in December. It's been pushed back a little bit. But I'm really anxious to see how cool these are in person, and I think anybody that loves Batman the Animated Series is going to really be excited about these, and to have 6-inch figures versus the 3 3/4-inch figures, which we got when the series was on the air. Also, each of these figures comes with a display stand, which is kind of nifty.
Yes. This new book from Vertigo, just before that, Effigy by Tim Seeley, actually sounds really cool.
Okay.
That's what previews is. It's going like, oh, that looks cool, and then you read the thing, and I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, well, Effigy, look it up in the previews catalog. We're into IDW land, and you know what? The fanboy in me, my love for the original Star Trek and the original Planet of the Apes knows no bounds, and apparently it's just me who's this crazy about it. But we've got Star Trek Planet of the Apes, which actually kicks off in November? Is that right? No, December. So the second issue is in this catalog, and it's original series Star Trek meets the first Planet of the Apes film. So you've got...
Which first?
The Charlton Heston one. It's crazy. All of the covers are awesome. There are 3 different covers here, and I want all of them. The regular cover shows Jim Kirk being beaten, and Charlton Heston's Taylor character standing there with a gun, and the Statue of Liberty's in the background. And then you've got a photo cover, which is a throwback to the Dell Gold Key era, and you've got a Kirk on one side, Gorilla Soldier and Taylor on one side, on the other side. It just looks amazing. Yeah. Also worth noting, the City on the Edge of Forever Harlan Ellison version comes out in hardcover in January, and that is also in this catalog.
Just a couple pages after that, Galaxy Quest. What?
Go ahead.
What? Okay. Galaxy Quest, The Journey Continues. Classic cult favorite fan film. Not fan film, but...
made by fans.
Sometimes it seems like it was made by fans. Starring Tim Allen and Alan Rickman and Sigourney Weaver?
Yep.
Wow, what happened to her? Is coming to comics. This has got to be the first Galaxy Quest stuff in a long time. I don't remember
there was another one.
Was there another one?
There is another. There was... Since the store has been open, there's been another Galaxy Quest comic.
Well, I'm excited that there's going to be one out now.
On the opposite page, which I can't believe Josh overlooked, Wild Blue Yonder hardcover. I guess...
I'm still angry with them because the book took forever.
The delays on this book killed a lot of the momentum and a lot of the enthusiasm that we had here for it. But I truly believe having this in a nice hardcover will be fantastic.
Yeah, and even the issues I had to wait 3 months to read were awesome. It was.
I just couldn't remember what happened in the previous issues.
Nice.
Now you won't have that problem with the complete Wild Blue Yonder in hardcover from IDW in January.
Awesome. Oh, another ECR.
There's so many pages. It's ridiculous.
Image Comics.
Dun, dun, dun.
The Dead and the Dying #1. Book written by Jonathan Hickman. They're... gotta read this tag here. It is Indiana Jones for old people, but there are no fedoras, only bedpans. Oversized bedpans. 48 glorious pages of bedpans.
Sign me up. I'm in.
Yes. You've got an old guy on the cover here looking kind of like... Actually, it looks like the guy from Men of Wrath a little bit. But he's holding what appears to be the Spear of Longinus.
Like Kurt... What? The Spear of Longinus? What?
Longinus. The spear that pierced... The Spear of Destiny.
I understand. I prefer Spear of Destiny instead of Spear of Longinus.
Well, what was the soldier's name?
It sounds like an illness. I went to the doctor, I have Longinus. It's better than...
It's a heart condition.
Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
No, the art looks cool.
The pitch looks good. It sounds good. The art looks good. It's Jonathan Hickman. They have some preview pages in there. Worth noting, Spawn number 250 comes out in January. It is only the second independent comic book series to hit 250 issues. And I haven't read Spawn in many, many moons. I may pick it up just to give it a shot.
So how far behind is Spawn? Because if it was actually monthly, it should be well beyond 250, right?
It's in the same position Savage Dragon is.
Yeah.
Savage Dragon's in the 200 someplace. But there were just years where they only published 2 or 3 issues. It was ridiculous. Lots of variant covers for this one, and they are all orderable by your local comic shop, including one by Todd McFarlane, Greg Capullo, who started out his career really, gained a lot of attention as Todd McFarlane's understudy on Spawn and took over the artwork when Todd got tired of it. Scotty Young, Jock, Sean Murphy, and Philip Tan are also doing covers for this. So that's worth noting.
New printings of Criminal, the Brubaker and Phillips oeuvre, now that they've come over to Image. So I'm glad to have that back in print.
Yeah.
Also, I think these are cheaper than the other versions were. 15 a piece.
An oversized hardcover of Sex Criminals.
Woo!
The first 10 issues, it is called Big Hard Sex Criminals hardcover.
Except the words Big Hard Sex are in larger fonts.
Yes, Big Hard Sex Criminals. And in the notes here, it says, story by Matt Fraction, art by Ziggy Chooch. Which is Chip Zdarsky's stage name, apparently. Anyway...
Rising Stars Compendium, that's awesome. From JMS, who you may remember as the guy that picked up Thor's hammer, or tried to, in the Thor movie, or something about Babylon 5. Back in prints, that's great.
Over 1,000 pages.
Good Lord, 1,008 pages.
I don't know if I have the soft cover or the hardcover. Do I still have it? Yeah, there it is. It's sitting on my shelf. It's a hardcover.
Awesome.
Crazy good.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's it. There's a lot of cool stuff, obviously, in the Image section because they are doing a lot of cool stuff, but... For time's sake, this is going to be a mini-series event, an Alter Ego Comics mini-series event. We'll make it through the first half of the previews catalog in this week's episode. All right, so yeah, now we're into really smaller publishers. Let's see what jumps out of this. Ooh, that's scary. Some scary stuff in here.
Don't look directly at the pages.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, there's a Munchkin comic coming out.
Yeah, that actually, the cool part about that is Munchkin, I don't know if you're familiar with it, is I'm saying it like you're going to reply to me, is a card game that's basically a parody of Dungeons & Dragons. It's been around for a while. It's very popular, but each issue is going to come with a unique Munchkin card that hasn't been printed before. So if you want that chance to get just that little bit ahead of the other guys, that's where you'll find it.
Yeah, and it
really
looks like it doesn't say it's a mini-series. And the exclusive game card is only available in the first printing of every issue. So this is one where you want to get it on your pull list because some stores may not order it. We may not order it in large quantities. If we don't have anybody say, hey, hold Munchkin number 1 for me, why would I order 25, 50, 100 copies? I wouldn't, is the answer that you're looking for. Yes, that's from Boom Studios, by the way. I don't think we mentioned what section we were in. Boom does some really cool stuff. If you are a fan, if you're one of the 3 people that likes the King Syndicate characters, such as Flash Gordon, Mandrake the Magician, Prince Valiant, the Phantom, and Jungle Jim. I had a Jungle Jim when I was a kid. It was made of metal. Dynamite Entertainment, Dynamite Comics, is launching a new line of King Syndicate books. Oh, there's a Darwin Cook cover for Flash Gordon. Ooh, and a Rob Liefeld cover.
You just went 2 totally different directions.
Yeah. So anyway, if that's your thing, and history has shown us it is not most people's thing in our shop, but there are some of you, and I'm not criticizing you, let us know that you want these books so that we can have them on the stands for you.
Also out from Boom in their Kaboom imprint is Adventure Time, Marceline Gone Adrift. It's going to be a 6-issue series featuring Marceline, the vampire queen, off in space, drifting, and who will we send to save her but Princess Bubblegum. These 2 characters, especially when they're together, are incredibly popular, and the work they've been doing in the Adventure Time comics is really, really solid. It's on par with the work they do on the show, which is far better than you can say for most licensed comics.
All right, so we are in the Fantagraphics section. There is a comic that sports fans and actually some non-sports fans might be interested in. Michael Jordan, Bull on Parade. This is by Wilfred Santiago, who did a comic called 21, The Story of Roberto Clemente, which came out several years ago and was very popular. And this is basically a bio comic of Michael Jordan. So there you have it. This is the book that you give to your sports fan dad or son or friends or spouse or whomever. The Roberto Clemente book is also very cool, and I think we're going to try and restock that, or at least have that alongside the Michael Jordan one when that comes out. Looks cool. It's a hardcover, 200 pages from Fantagraphics.
Yeah, Fantagraphics does really nice presentation on their books. Binding and whatnot. It's cool.
Okay,
seriously, there's so many pages.
I'll keep talking.
Going, yes.
I'll keep talking. So, Frozen is being adapted. Disney's Frozen is being adapted into a series of graphic novels / comics. I'm confused because it says GN here, but it's only $4.99, so that does not sound like a graphic novel.
48 pages, so it's probably perfect bound, and that's why they're classifying as a GN.
So this company called Joe Books, this publisher, they're doing a 300-page adaptation, which will be available in early December, and then it looks like they're also doing kind of a series of the Frozen adaptation, and this will be available in January. So everyone loves Frozen, well, most people, not everyone. Lots of people like Frozen. So add that to your pull list. Talk to your local retailer about that. 2 other things of note also being published by Joe Books. Darkwing Duck is going to be available. That's a trade.
Get dangerous.
Definitely Dangerous edition. This is a 400-page trade paperback for $20. And then there is a Cinderella Cinestory, which is the book that I talked about earlier about Frozen, and they're calling it Cinestory, which is basically taking screen caps of the film and adding words and that sort of thing. So it's comic-like, but not necessarily a traditional comic book. So the Cinderella Cinestory, over 400 pages, will also be out in January.
I have no idea what it's about, but this Magnetic Press Love Volume 1, The Tiger, I don't know, it's just the cover is this tiger leaping and fighting with what appears to be a panther, and the ads for it look really cool. A day in the life of the king of the jungle, this lavishly illustrated story follows a single majestic tiger through a wordless adventure of survival as it hunts prey and defends itself from other would-be killers. Kind of like, what was that one Dark Horse did, Walking with Dinosaurs, or was it just called Dinosaurs? This was like the 90s.
Was it Dark Horse? I don't know.
Was it just called Reptiles, maybe? But it was a dinosaur book, and it was literally, there was no text, it was just seeing the life of dinosaurs. It was gripping. And this looks similar tonally.
Top Shelf Productions I would mention the same breath as Fantagraphics. They do some really high quality, highbrow content. It's not the capes and tight stuff. It's more real world type stories, and this one is definitely one of those. Congressman John Lewis from Atlanta is doing his autobiography in a series of 3 graphic novels. The first one is called March, Book 1. And this is called March Book 2. Book 1 has been out for, I want to say about a year and a half.
Yeah.
At least. Maybe 2 years. So I don't know what the holdup here is, Congressman Lewis. It's not like you're trying to run the government or anything. But Book 2 comes out in January. Book 1 is, I think a great piece for anybody that is interested in the history of America and the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We stock it here in the store, so come check it out. But March Book 2 will be out, and I am eagerly anticipating that one. Great for educators, too.
Now, there's a new book out from Titan Comics. The publisher's best known around here for Doctor Who in the current incarnation, called Masked Volume 1, and it's tagged as Superman meets Blade Runner. A superhero comes back after a war, or a soldier returns home after a war, and finds that his city's been infested with anomalies, robotic people that are growing in size and awareness and hunting humans, and that just sounds cool. Superman meets Blade Runner was all I really needed to get interested.
Well, and that's worth noting that the back section, the green section of the previews catalog, which are the non-premier publishers, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. Concepts that just sound incredibly cool. And a lot of these have been optioned for film and TV and things. I'm thinking specifically of Surrogates and Wasteland is another one from Oni Press that hasn't been. It may have been optioned. I don't know. So don't skip over that section once you get through the premier publishers, because there's a lot of cool stuff in the back. Now, I'm probably going to stop there because we're 400 pages into the previews catalog, and that's all comic book content. The last 250 pages, roughly, or 240 pages, are going to be magazines, trading cards, T-shirts, action figures, statues, tabletop games, DVDs, import stuff, all kinds of cool stuff. Was there anything that you really wanted to hit on from there?
No, there's a book here called The Last American Vampire. I think Scott Snyder's going to sue somebody.
It's by the guy who did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh.
Sean, what's his face?
Graham Smith.
Is it Sean Graham Smith?
Yeah, Sean Graham Smith.
Yeah. I haven't seen the film version of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but the book was awesome. I really liked the book. So that actually jumped out at me, and I will be picking that up to read. Or have someone read it to me through Audible, because I can't read without pictures. So that's it. We could sit here and talk for probably another 20 minutes or 15 minutes, but I guess I'm curious to see, what did you think of this episode? Are you asleep? Did you shut us off after the first few minutes? We don't want to do this all the time, but I think it's worth kind of going through the new previews catalog and bringing things to people's attention. If you absolutely hated it, let us know, or let us know either way. Because if everyone hates it, we won't do it again, because we do this for you, not for us. Josh and I can sit here with the camera off and talk about previews and not waste your time. So, any questions about stuff that happened this week? We didn't even talk about the Marvel massive announcement this week of all of their upcoming films and new people playing characters and yada, 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 but maybe another time. So, for Josh, for me, for this guy, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.